Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, a man who I miss. I talk to him every Sunday after an Eagles game on the Jacob Media YouTube page. We're doing a little post-game show. You know him as D Gunn. I know him as...
Are you serious?
Wait for it. Here it is. D Gunn, the Gunfather, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Gunner?
How you doing, new daddy? How's the newborn?
He's amazing. He's so unbelievably chill. He's nothing like his father in that regard.
Thank God.
Beautiful hair. Gunner, he's got beautiful hair, my friend. Gorgeous.
Thank God he's got hair.
He's got like hockey hair. It's so beautiful. Flowing.
Unlike us who are follically challenged.
Yeah, exactly. As Jason Avant likes to say, we keep the sunroof open.
That's right. That's exactly right.
No, but thank you for asking. We're over the moon with this kid. We love little Leo Lou, our boy. Yeah, man, it's crazy. But you know, he's speaking already, and he said, Daddy, if you want a good guest, get the Gunfather. And I said, you're damn right. And then he pulled out the music box and he started playing, and I go, all right, you've proven your point. Okay, let me ask you this right out of the gate here, because before we talk Eagles, you covered Andy Reid for a long time. Remember that guy, red hair, big red?
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid? Who gets more of the blame for the Kansas City Chiefs watching the upcoming Super Bowl in 2 weeks?
I would say Patrick Mahomes. We've been so amazed with his ability, his escapability in situations, and I think especially when the game was on the line, he tried to do a little bit too much in situations. I think they tell you throw the ball away and live to play another day. And I know he was trying to extend plays. Cincinnati did a great job of covering all the spots, all the zones, and not giving him any options. But especially that last one when they made the field goal to tie to send it to overtime. But you gotta know that's the rookie mistake. You got to know to get rid of the ball. You can't take sacks in situations like that. Mm-hmm. And so I would have to say, in a lot of ways, the Mahomes gets more of the blame than Andy Reid does.
I agree, and I tend to go more towards players than coaches in general. Yeah. But Andy Reid, I thought it was a bad play call, bad play design at the end of the first half. It was compounded by Patrick Mahomes actually throwing the football in the flat with 5 seconds, no timeouts, in the end zone right there, and he could have just thrown it away. Right. And then I thought Patrick Mahomes at the end of that second half, like you said, he just took a bunch of bad sacks, including the fumble, had a couple of picks that were tipped. So I definitely look at the player more so than Andy Reid. Even though as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I look at Andy Reid and I want to blame him more because that's the hot take. That's the piping hot take here.
Sure.
But I just, in all honesty, I can't look our audience in the eye and say, oh, no, that was Andy Reid's fault. I can't do that. I definitely look at Patrick Mahomes more. Joe Burrow versus Matthew Stafford. This is going to be I think it's going to be a real fun Super Bowl. Guys getting after it. I feel like it is going to be an air out type of game. Your early preview of this Super Bowl, what are you thinking?
Wow. Well, the fact that Cincinnati is there, they got past the number 5, the number 2, and the number 1 seeds to get there. And you look at the manner in which they did it. Now, when it comes to the Raiders in Kansas City, they beat both of them in week 11 and week 17 of the season. And you're thinking, okay, here's a team that 2 years ago won just 2 games. And all of a sudden, they're in the Super Bowl all of a sudden, which goes to show you if you get that so-called franchise quarterback and if you build the team properly around young quarterback like that, you can do some great things. But the fact that Cincinnati is even in the Super Bowl is just a testament to just how crazy the season has been in general, and especially the playoffs. You go back to the divisional round of the playoffs, the greatest weekend of playoffs I've ever seen in my life. And I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of football, the greatest play. And then you look at the unpredictability of what happened in that 49ers-Rams game when 49ers could have won that game had the DB not dropped the ball, and gave Rams another chance to keep going. And sure enough, they put points on the board, and all of a sudden the momentum's in their favor. But as I look at this early on, Sean McVay is an incredible coach. And obviously Zach Taylor is turning out to be an incredible coach as well. I just think this is the Rams' time. They sold the farm. They basically this year have used the blueprint of what the Patriots would do. The Patriots never cared about having first-round draft picks. If they could get a player they wanted to fill the void, that's exactly what they did. So the Rams go out, last year they get a Jalen Ramsey. Now they go out, they get a Von Miller. They bring in an Odell Beckham Jr., so on and so forth. They just got everything that they need. I think Cooper Kupp is unstoppable, as is Jamar Chase. Matthew Stafford now has a chance to get that proverbial monkey off his back of being a perennial loser with the Detroit Lions. I mean, he's made some big throws throughout the playoffs. And I just think the tenacity of the Rams defense will be a little bit too much, although I was very impressed with how Cincinnati, after giving up 9 sacks to Tennessee, came back, only gave up 1 sack to the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. Both teams have incredible skill position talent. But I just think this is the Rams' time, and I think Sean McVay finally gets his first Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I early prediction for me is I agree with that. I'm rooting for the Bengals, though. I got to be honest, because I am pretty amazed by Joe Burrow and the way he's played, and not just him, but his entire offense. It's just so much fun to watch. Jamar Chase, of course, and it makes you think about the Eagles trading back a little bit. But it's an interesting case right now. What are you making of Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati offense?
That offense, when it's clicking, man, it's a thing of beauty to watch, and especially the Burrow to Jamar Chase combo as one of the best combos in the National Football League. You know, obviously they had a lot of history together in college, and now it's carried over in the pros. I just can't say enough about the diversity of the offense and their ability to sustain drives. I mean, when you look at the playoffs, they control the clock. They don't make many mistakes on offense, and they can beat you in so many ways. The third down percentage is incredible for a young team that's still trying to find its way. Man, they don't rattle. They fall behind. They don't rattle. They come back. They find a way to beat you. I mean, they've won their playoff games by 7, 3, and 3 points. I mean, what else do you want from a team? I mean, if they're a nervous team, they should play poker because they've got the perfect poker faces. You can't tell when they're nervous when they fall behind.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow's got all the poker glasses that you would need. I mean, the pink tint, you know, it's fine. You would never know what his eyes are saying.
But you know what? When you look at the Cincinnati team, you know, nobody ever expected them to be this far. That's what I love about the NFL. You know, the league for years has wanted parity, and over the last 10 years in particular, they've had that parity. You know, you don't know who's up and who's down year in and year out, and it goes to show you that you don't have to take 4 or 5 years to rebuild a team. You can rebuild a team in a couple of years, as the Cincinnati Bengals have done.
Mm-hmm. No question. So you mentioned that whole thing about the whole elite quarterback thing, and you got a couple of teams that are in the Super Bowl right now with some elite quarterbacks. Are the Eagles an elite quarterback away from being a contender? Do they have too many holes? Like if they were to get a guy like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, all the names you know, if they were to get an elite quarterback, are they a Super Bowl contender?
If the roster stayed the same, no. Even if they had an elite quarterback would make them a better team, would probably make them a playoff team, but I don't think they would be considered that so-called Super Bowl team. I still think they need another wide receiver to complement, you know, Devonta Smith. I think they need to get another edge rusher because I don't think Derek Barnett's going to be here. I like Josh Sweat. Brandon Graham should be back, but when you're 33, 34 years old coming back from Achilles, it's not quite the same as a guy in his 20s. They need linebacking help desperately. They need another young cornerback to complement Darius Slay. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get all of that in the offseason and free agency players they can plug and play right away. They're coming out from under that Carson Wentz dark cloud of a cap restraint. The cap is supposed to go up about $209 million. So they're going to have some cap room to play. And Howie Roseman loves the wheel and deal in free agency. I think he's going to get a couple of pieces that he wants. He has the 3 first-round picks. If he kept those 3 first-round picks, you know, I've gone on many platforms many times over the last month, and I've said I would use all 3 of those for defense. I would try to find a receiver, a veteran receiver in free agency to complement Devonta Smith and use those 3 first-round picks to try to build. You have to get, if you keep those 3 first-round picks, you have to get at least 2 starters right away out of this coming draft. And I think there's enough defensive talent to do that. And so I would hone in on the defense. You look at what the Dallas Cowboys did last year in the draft. They used their first 6 picks for defense. Now, Dallas's defense wasn't a so-called shutdown defense, but it was a much better defense compared to what it was in 2020. So I do believe the Eagles, with the right strategic moves in the offseason and in free agency in the draft, can make this a better team if Howie Roseman plays his cards right.
So looking at the quarterback right now for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, what kind of leap do you need to see in year 2 of him as a starter, assuming he does get that year, in order to say, forget about year 2 now, he's the franchise guy moving forward? What kind of leap do you need to see from him?
Well, he's got to learn to read the field better. I think he has a deficiency there. More accuracy for sure. He's never going to be a so-called strong arm quarterback. He's not the strongest of arms. He's got an average arm at best. You can tell on his deep balls a lot of times. But I just think his ability to read the field a little bit better is first and foremost, should be his priority. And I think also a priority should be his ability to stay in the pocket a little bit longer. Don't be so quick to go outside of the pocket and just take off and run. Stay in the pocket a little bit longer and wait till one of your receivers free themselves up. I do think Quez Watkins has great potential. We still don't know what John Hightower is. We didn't see much of him. We know what he has in Dallas Goedert. I think the kid Tyree Jackson is going to be a good player if he comes back. Here's a guy started the season on IR. He comes back, tears up his knee, and he's gone. I think this kid has a lot of potential as well as a number 2 tight end. So there are some pieces to work with. The offensive line is going to be okay, even if Brandon Brooks. You look at the way it played without Brandon Brooks this year. Jeff Stoutland did an incredible job. He's a miracle worker in terms of making an offensive lineman interchangeable parts. You've got Seumalo out, you got Opeta in, you got Driscoll over here, you had Landon Dickerson starting on the right side, move it over to the left side. Lane Johnson was out for several games and put another tackle in there. Mulatto was out a few games, and they played pretty well. I think the running game is going to be their bread and butter game. And, if you add a couple of pieces on the outside to that to make it more efficient, this Eagles team is going to be fun to watch.
Just to stick with this for a second here with the quarterback, and the last thing I'll ask you about Jalen Hurts per se. But when you do look at those other quarterbacks, what are you uncomfortable parting with if the Eagles decide to trade for? And this has to be on their terms as well. But if the Eagles trade for a Wilson, all the names
right,
all 3 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks, what's about right?
You'll probably have to give up 2 first-round picks to get them, and I'd hate to see them give up the higher 2 first-round picks. I think if they can keep that highest first-round pick and get a plug-and-play player right away, I think that would behoove them to do that and still attack free agency and get some of the pieces you need. You're not going to get everything you need, but get some of the pieces you need to help make this product overall a better product. If you get that elite quarterback in here, okay, as long as you don't have to give up all 3 first-round picks. You look at Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers is 38. First of all, I don't think an Aaron Rodgers is coming here. He's already said he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild anywhere, and that includes Green Bay. And if you look at the Eagles, I don't think they're rebuilding, but I do think they're retooling in a lot of ways. Russell Wilson's what, like 34 now? You look at the season he's coming off of, and obviously he had the finger injury for a while. People are saying Russell Wilson is in decline. I don't believe that. I still think Russell Wilson is one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. But I don't know if I would be willing to give up, 2 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. I know a lot of fans are clamoring for him. And a lot of people are still looking at Deshaun Watson. But until he gets his legal matters cleared up, do you want that hovering over your head as well? So that's why I've been adamant about saying, give Jalen Hurts a second year in Nick Sirianni's offense. Nick Sirianni, from the time the season ended, should be looking at his playbook and streamlining his playbook even more than he did in 2021 to fit Jalen Hurts' strengths and to make Jalen Hurts a more efficient quarterback. You don't have to have the strongest arm in the National Football League to be an efficient quarterback. You look at a lot of these quarterbacks nowadays who dink and dunk their way down the field. Jalen Hurts can do that. He can get better in the intermediate passing game. He has a strong enough arm for the intermediate passing game. He automatically strikes fear into defenses because of his ability to take off, which causes linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks to freeze for a moment when he floats outside their pocket. So he has the ability to have a very efficient game in the intermediate game. I just think that he needs to work on that a little bit more, as well as reading defenses and not being so skittish in the pocket.
So we watched Ja'Marr Chase in this whole playoff run, and I love Ja'Marr Chase. He's incredible. If he is 100%, let's say he's the top-notch guy, right? If he's 10 out of 10, we'll say. How good do you think, or how close can Devontae Smith get there with a quarterback that is more of the throwing ilk?
Wow. Well, you look at Devontae Smith. He had 960 something yards receiving this year. He broke Deshaun Jackson's rookie record. And, he hasn't really tapped into everything that he's capable of being. So if you improve Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, is automatically going to help improve Devontae Smith's numbers. I don't know if Devontae Smith will ever be on the same plane as a Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is a bigger receiver and a little bit more physical receiver. Devontae Smith's claim to fame is being an incredible route runner, his ability to get separation. I think Devontae Smith has some work to do still in terms of fighting off press coverage. Sometimes he got locked up with DBs a little bit too much. And once a defense can fit, the word gets out that, hey, you can lock this guy up and knock him off his spot, that makes his job a little bit more difficult. But I think Devontae just needs to get a little bit stronger. I think he has all the attributes to be a Pro Bowl type receiver, multiple times in his career. But those are little things that he has to work on. But it starts with the quarterback. If the quarterback gets a little bit better, a little bit more accurate, it's going to help Devontae Smith get more recognition across the league.
Doug Peterson's about to interview again for the Jacksonville Jaguars job. Is that a fit? Where do you think Doug would fit in the best around the league?
You know what? I think Doug could go in anywhere and fit in. He's such a good players coach. He's a good quarterback type coach. If you go to a Jacksonville, you got one of the best young quarterbacks in the game who struggled this year in Trevor Lawrence. If the ownership down there does the right thing, as Cincinnati did, bring the right pieces in to complement Trevor Lawrence, I think Jacksonville can turn it around real quick down there. They have some talent. They were just inconsistent with it. And obviously the quarterback struggled a lot more than he ever had in his collegiate career. Doug Peterson could go to Houston. He could go to, Jacksonville. He can go to a number of places and succeed, even in Houston. If Doug Peterson is given the time to turn the culture around down in Houston, Doug Peterson is capable of also turning around the culture down there.
You know what I'm saying? What if Jonathan Gannon gets that job over Doug Peterson? What if they were both finalists?
That just goes to show you that if they hire Jonathan Gannon, then that franchise is destined to be a dark entity in the National Football League for a long time. I don't like to sit here and knock Jonathan Gannon. The fact that he's getting interviews is shocking in itself when you consider how his defense played. Now, they didn't play badly, but when a defensive coordinator comes out of his mouth early in the season and says, I don't have a scheme, I have a philosophy. And you're sitting there going, what? So it changes week to week. That's a red flag for me. And the fact that he's even getting interviews, I'm just sitting here shocked. So if Houston would hire Jonathan Gannon over Doug Peterson, you know what? More power to you, because you're going to have a long, dark history for many years to come. You like that. I don't want to say it, but you made me say it. You made me say it.
Yee, reeling in, my friend. Reeling in. This is what happened. Brandon Brooks. How much will the Eagles miss him? Two things really on him. What sticks out to you about Brandon Brooks' career here in Philadelphia, because you covered him for a long time? And then also, how much will the Eagles miss him at right guard next year? Because as great as he was, I think they're going to be okay offensive line wise.
When he came here from Houston, he was a very good right guard. Jeff Stoutland coached him up and made him a perennial Pro Bowl right guard, and Brandon is first and foremost to admit Jeff Stoutland took his game to another level. When you have a Pro Bowler like that, obviously you're going to miss him. But Jeff Stoutland's ability, as I said earlier, to plug and play players anywhere, I think the offensive line is going to be fine. You look at the numbers they put up in the running game without a Brandon Brooks, and it tells you that they're going to be fine. With Jeff Stoutland loves Jack Driscoll, and so I think Driscoll's going to be his pet project this offseason in terms of getting that young man, coached up the right way to plug and play him in on the right side as well. Unless they draft a right guard high enough, which wouldn't surprise me considering some of the drafts that Howie Roseman has had, But I think their offensive line is going to be fine. You're going to get Sayamalo back healthy. You have Asua Opeta there. You have Driscoll, Nate Herbig. You have these guys that you can switch around and plug and play. As long as Jason Kelce comes back to play in the middle, you got Lane Johnson on the right side. Jordan Mailata has emerged as one of the best left tackles in the game. I think that offensive line is going to be just fine.
All right, and again, part of that question, Brandon Brooks, and how you'll remember him as a Philadelphia Eagle.
You know what? He's the consummate professional, both on and off the field. He just happens to be from my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I have a fondness for him.
Yeah.
But he's such a down to earth guy. The fact that he opened up and now is a big advocate for mental health tells you a lot about his characters. There are a lot of players out there that still refuse to talk about some of the inner struggles they go through. But Brandon Brooks has come out and he's inspired people in terms of, hey, look, just because we're these gladiators doesn't mean we're invincible. We have feelings too. We have problems too. We're just put on a bigger pedestal than everybody else. And so, the fact that he addressed that issue, he attacked the issue, he's controlling that issue. The fact that he was gracious to everybody who stepped to his locker. He talked to people off the field as well. I just think I wish there were many more Brandon Brooks in the National Football League. Obviously, at some point in his career, he got it. He understood that, hey, look, we are professionals. Our time is limited, but people want to talk to us. People want to get to know us. People want to meet us. And, and it's part of their job responsibility, to extend themselves a little bit and mingle, with the people who buy the jerseys, who go to games and spend, a lot of money to see their favorite players play. And Brandon Brooks was everything that you want in a professional, both on and off the field.
I could not agree more, my friend. I know we'll be fishing at some point in this offseason, and I'll show you what I can do out there as an angler. All right.
Wait.
Angler.
When you say that we'll be fishing, yes, you'll be fishing in one part of the country. I'll be fishing in another part of the country. I don't know if the two shall ever meet. Yeah. I am not destined to get hooked in the butt or the eye or the arm. I'm not saying you would do it deliberately.
Right.
I'm just saying that there's a part of me that knows that when you fish with the novice, you're always ducking and weaving and bobbing, and I don't know if I want to do that at this stage of my life.
For the people listening to the podcast and not watching, I hit my desk and hit a wire and knocked my camera out.
Yeah, I was like, "What the heck's going on?" Were you telling me? Were you cut me off so I couldn't finish my statement or what?
Because I'm getting my kayak and I'm kayaking my ass down there to see you, and we're ready to go fishing. No, I can see. Here's what I'm gonna do. Next time I'm out fishing, I'm gonna FaceTime you. All right, and I'm gonna tell you I'm recording it. Okay. Actually, I don't think I can FaceTime and record at the same time. But anyway, I'll hit you up. I'll send you a link for the show, and we'll record a little segment where you critique me as a fisherman. All right?
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I would love to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there is something wrong with you. I think you have issues.
The Gunfather.
Hey, can you get me one of those?
I want to let you know that it brings me joy to know that it annoys you a little bit.
I'm sitting there going, what is wrong with him? But then again, don't ever change.
We will never. Thank you, brother. The great Derek Gunn, the Gunfather himself. Make sure you guys catch him. Gunn on One. Follow him on social media. Obviously, if you're not doing that, are you even an Eagles fan? Gunner, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, before I go, I just want to say, hey, congratulations to you and your wife.
Thank you, brother.
Many blessings to you on the new addition to your family. And I hope it's just the second of maybe 8 or 9 more to come.
We should be so lucky. The world needs more Farzettas. Not necessarily more Marc Farzettas, just more Farzettas. Gunner, thank you, brother. From the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, the great Derek Gunn. Thanks, brother.
Yep, you're welcome, brother. Anytime.